So there was this guy. He came up to me during set. I'm repping out like 35, 40 kilos. He watches me, and as soon as I'm done, he laughs at me. He goes, "Is that all you got? That's pretty lightweight." So he takes the fucking piss out of me, and then he gets the weight and he bicep curls it. And he's laughing at me. He's calling me weak and saying I'm a pussy. Now, this was a terrible experience, but I want to fast forward a little bit. About a year later, I was in the gym, and not too much had changed, because this time there was this like scary looking, really jacked, strong guy in the gym. He didn't come up to me and like mess with my weights or anything, but he was there, and I vaguely said, "Hi, how are you?" but no conversation really came from it. And a year later, this was recently actually, I was in the gym and I was there with my friend, laughing a lot, lifting some weight, and I end up being in such a good mood and talking like quite loudly. I've known most of the people around me in the gym. I'm going up saying hi to all of them. And this guy, the same scary guy who I didn't talk to, he ends up saying like, "Oh yeah, have you been?" And we introduce ourselves properly. But this time I say, "Oh, do you want to go grab some food after?" And we do. I actually have a great time with him, and this guy comes out with us on the weekend. Somebody who I reckon I can consider a really good friend of mine at this point. And honestly, I had a great time spending time with him. It was super nice to get to meet him. And I wanted to tell you these two stories, because the first story, I got shit on by this guy because I was weak, I was not good, I was not strong. And then I felt like I was respected, and this really guy that I used to be really scared of actually came and started speaking to me, and we had a great chat and became a good friend of mine. And I wanted to share with you the things that I've done to make better friends, to get over that fear of speaking to those scary guys, to the point where people won't come over and shit on me for the weight I'm lifting. And even if they try, I'd have nothing to be embarrassed about, because I'm not that weak. There's this guy who I got closer with him, and one night I remember I called him and I was telling him about how my day was, and I basically just ranted out a lot of my problems. And he was there. He was on a 45-minute phone call with me, I'm pretty sure. And this was at a time where he was he's in his final year, he's really busy with his schoolwork and stuff, but he still made the time to come speak to me. He still made the time to help me feel better. And I remember when I was in the gym with him, this was the day that I met the scary guy in the gym. I was with him, we were laughing a lot, and this other guy kind of just flirted towards me. And we had a really good chat. I was so confident to speak to this guy, this scary guy, because I was already with one of my really good friends, the guy who had been on a phone call with me. He was there, laughing with me, training with me, and I felt so confident around him. And that's the first point I have to make, is when you're around really good friends, if you have one really close guy, in my experience, I have so much more confidence just to be around one really good friend and to be able to talk to more people off that. There was this time from maybe half a year ago, where I was really dialed in, working hard, and I was making good progress, but I wasn't really happy because I didn't really have that many friends that I was hanging out with, and I was getting really sick of the flow of life and everything. And I went on holidays back to my hometown, and obviously I already had a great group of friends there that I didn't have in this town where I live now. And when I was with them, I was going out every day, something social, pretty much every other day. I was still working most of the time until this one weekend before I went back. And this one weekend, it was the first time I drank in months. It was the first time that I'd been to such a big social event in a long time. And I remembered that the next morning I was in the sauna with my friend. We'd woken up early after being together. This was one of my really close friends. We'd woken up the next morning. We'd just had a really big night out together, and we're sitting in the sauna. And I say these words to him. I go, "You know what? I don't even feel that bad right now. I'm actually really happy. Even though I'd technically gone out drinking, I'd done this bad habit. But I go, maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe this is kind of what I needed. I needed to be a bit more social." And I decided at that point, I couldn't live the same way any longer. I needed to be around some friends. I needed to have somewhat of a social life to be able to talk to people when I go out. And that's when I realized that there was only one thing I could do, which was to set a mental goal. I really want to put in effort to try and make some better friends, to try and go out more. And that's exactly what I did. And it worked really well. And I actually started going out. You know, there was this one night where I realized that I'd made a lot of progress when I was with my friend. This is the morning after I was with my friend. So the night before, I went out with one of my friends, and we ended up running like a two-man. We bumped into his ex and her friend, and it was just us four that whole night. I was speaking. I honestly had a great time and a great laugh with them. You know, I'm not really close with them still, but the fact that I could go out and have such a great night laughing, you know, speaking to some nice like ladies, honestly, the fact that I could have that experience after feeling like I had no friends in this environment, that I could never really go out, and there I was with a really good friend and some girls having a great laugh, that meant so much to me. And it's when at that point I realized, like, holy shit, I've actually made so much progress. And I want to share with you in this video how you can do that. But go subscribe to my channel. So I remember this was like about a month ago, where my friend said to me, he said, yo bro, you know, you're kind of like a new person. Talking to you is so different now than it was before. And he said to me that he didn't really always feel super close to me, but that he liked me a lot more now. He was having a great time spending time with me around and about. And this meant a lot to me, because it taught me, like, I had done something in the last month or the last few months that had changed this guy's view of me so much that he said it wasn't even like talking to the same person when he spoke to me. And I traced back the steps, and I talked to a lot of people, and I figured out that it was two things. It was first, this was right after I started putting in effort to be more social. Remember when I said that I got back from that long holiday and I really I couldn't stand not having a social life anymore, and I started putting in effort? Well, he literally said at this time frame I started to change. And then the other thing I did, which I don't think most people have noticed, but I started putting Instagram stories of just when I was with friends or when I was doing something cool. Because when people see you, like for example, when I was with my good friend and these two other girls, when people would see me going on a night out and I'm like, looks like I'm really happy, and I'm with a really good friend, I'm with some girls, and you put that on your Instagram, it completely changes the way that people view you. It's like they have no choice to accept that you do have a life. And people respect guys who are social, people who have friends. And I noticed that when I started putting more stories like this on, photos of me and my friends, people started treating me so differently. And that's what I recommend, you know, once you start putting in effort, start messaging people, asking a few people to hang out. You know, it might take some time, but if you keep sticking with it and you keep like going out, you keep going to social areas, like maybe even just a boxing gym, you keep showing up and talking to people there, and you start putting you decide to get dinner with one of these guys from the boxing gym, you put a photo on your story. I think that's a really, really powerful thing, and I really recommend it. You know, the first time I met this guy, he was quite, like, he was moderately friendly, but he was a little bit shy. But I decided, like, oh, this guy goes to the gym, he's a pretty cool guy, he's pretty kind, and I wanted to hang out with him. And it didn't happen for a really long time, but this holiday, it ended up, like, finally working out. We, like, made the plans. Okay, I just invited him. I was like, yeah, we should hang out over the holiday. We'd been hyping it up for a while, and it actually suddenly happened. And we ended up having, like, a really awesome night together. I really enjoyed getting to know him better, and something really interesting happened. After the main thing that I'd done is I just kept asking him to hang out over a period of time, and I didn't push it too much when he wasn't free. I honestly, for a while, thought like, oh yeah, he probably just doesn't want to be close to me. But over a while, he ended up just saying like, yeah, we should meet up over the holidays. We did. And literally a week ago in the gym, I was having a really shocking day. And I remember I went to the gym and he was there, and I told him about what was going on, and it made me feel so much better that I had a person who I could talk about this problem that I was dealing with, and to just go to the gym, train, and feel like I'm around a friend, feel like be around somebody who likes me. And it made such a difference to my day. I felt 1,000 times better. Walking back from that gym, I felt like an entirely new man. as long as you just keep talking to more and more people, just asking, even if sometimes people say no, even if often people say no to hanging out with you, or they're not free, or they come up with excuses, as long as you don't push it too far and you keep trying to hang out with them, you keep if you keep doing this with enough people, you'll find somebody who will actually come to meet you, who will actually become a really good friend of yours. And that is priceless, to have a really good friend. I really appreciate it. Go subscribe, send me a message on my Insta if you want. Have a great day.